A Shalom and Barakatham. Blessings to the believing brothers and sisters, Auuuu and Auuuu. All praises be to the Most High God, Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, whose name is Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Bless the name Yahweh and His only begotten Son, the magnificent, our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai, who's soon to return. And blessings be to the believers, Auuuu and Auuuu. Honors be to the elect elders on the four corners of the earth, preaching His word in truth and in sincerity. And Barakim La Habayaf Madabada. Blessings to the house of David, which are your brothers laboring day in and day out, giving all diligence, making your calling and election sure. This is the brother Sagalah, and I'm back with a lesson through the Spirit. And this lesson is going to touch on the fact that the earth has had enough of Esau. We're in a time where the earth is rising up against Esau. Esau is the man of sin. When you read in Malachi, the first chapter, the first through the fourth verse, he's called the border of wickedness, the children of fools, the wicked, the crooked serpent. These are all, ways that Esau's been identified. Today, Esau, he goes by white, European. He also goes by redneck, Caucasian. These are all terms that speak to who the Bible calls Esau. So Esau is a chief enemy of the Most High and the children of Israel, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, Black, Hispanic, and indigenous people to the Americas, who've also been scattered on the four corners of the earth. So the earth as a whole has seen enough of Esau. And so we're at the end of his rule, his age. So now, before I get there, let me go here, show this article. So this is what I'm going to get into today. The premise of the lesson is from this article. It says white South Africans granted refugee status by Trump administration arrive in the U.S. So these are Edomites that are in South Africa who have no business there. But of course, through colonialism, it came there and, had a stronghold there like they did all over the world. And there's various scriptures that go into that, and I'll touch on a few. Now, it says a flight carrying a group of 59 white South Africans granted refugee status by the Trump administration arrived in the United States on Monday. They were the first people to be granted refugee status by the Trump administration and are not expected to be the last Afrikaners to come to the U.S. So these are not truly Hamites, as they call so-called African people. That's the land of Ham. They are not Hamites. They're not Hamitic people. But we know Esau went and conquered all throughout the earth, and the scriptures show that. Like in Revelation, the 6th chapter, it talks about that. He came and took peace from the earth. And back in the book of the Maccabees, it speaks about that. The first Maccabees, how that great evils are multiplied in the earth. This was all during the time of Esau. Now, there's always been people on the earth, and there's always been people that have ruled. But the great evils multiplied when Esau was ruling. He was the most wicked. He took peace from the earth. It goes on to say the South Africans, including children, were greeted upon their arrival at Washington Dulles International Airport in Virginia by U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau and Department of Homeland Security Deputy Secretary Troy Edgar. The Trump administration has moved, it says, to not only admit but to expedite the processing of Afrikaners as refugees for alleged discrimination. At the same time, it has suspended all other refugee resettlement, including for people fleeing war and famine. So now these Hamites are rising up against the Edomites there. But as a whole, the earth is coming against Esau. And Esau is even coming against Esau. You got the Medes, the Russians that are against these Babylonians, or what's known today as Americans. Now, I got what I wanted there. So this is basically what's going on. So now they're having to flee. And that's what Esau's been doing going back to the time of Cain. But I don't want to really start there. You know what? Let me start here. Esau is fleeing, and he's always been, since the time of Cain, fleeing from persecution, fleeing from his judgment ultimately. And that judgment he's about to pay up by the king of terrors, Yahweh, and his son Yahweh Shah. I think it's Job. Let's go here. Let's go to Job, the 18th chapter. Job 18. And this chapter is dedicated to Esau, the man of sin. This is Job, Auuuu 18, and I'll start here at verse 14. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. And the king of terrors is another title designation given for the Most High God, Yahweh, the king of terrors. So Esau is being brought before the king of terrors, and he's going to be terrorized in these last days and in the kingdom of heaven before he's eradicated. When you read in the book of Obadiah. Job 18 and 14, his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle. So the confidence and that pomp and that pride that Esau has, he's losing it. And we're witnessing that. Only with our eyes shall we see the reward of the wicked, and we're seeing it. And it shall bring him to the king of terrors. It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his, meaning he's went into the land of Ham here, and now he's fleeing as a refugee there, where he went through colonialism and conquered the people there, and all throughout the different parts of the world. Same thing in Australia with the indigenous people of Australia. Same thing here in the Americas with the indigenous people of the Americas, which are Israelites, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans. And he's done that all throughout the world. But now the Most High's got a spirit of the people and the earth are actually rising against Esau. Job 18 and 17, his remembrance shall perish. So Esau ruling is going to be a thing of the past before long. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. And right now, Esau's name is all over the streets in America and in the world. There's countries, there's territories, there's, how do I want to say it? The architecture around the world is another example of Esau's ruling. The way it looks here in your current normal city in America, especially metropolitan area, whether it's New York, LA, Chicago, Detroit, whatever, the city, it looks like that in Tokyo, Shanghai, all across the globe. So this shows that Esau is ruling. So the world is under Esau's vibration. That's why the vast majority of the world operates in wickedness, because Esau is ruling. He's pushing and proliferating, his culture to the world, which is death. Now, it says he won't have no name in the street. And I'm gonna pin that and come back to that. I'll make note of that. He ain't gonna have no name in the street. Precept comes to mind. Let's keep reading verse 18. It says, he shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. So Esau is being chased literally out of the world, out of rulership here on the earth. But there's nowhere else he can run. Now, America is Esau's actual headquarters of rulership today, because Babylon is ruling, as it says in prophecy when you read in Revelation, the 17th chapter, 18th chapter, and the fall, and then post-destruction, what happens now and throughout the book of the prophets. But Esau is going to be chased out of the world. He's literally still trying to flee from persecution. So now, what I was going to start with is here, Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. It says, and the Lord Yahweh, thy God or thy power, will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and the chief enemy of the Most High are the Edomites and the Israelites, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Now let's show that Esau is the enemy, the chief enemy of the children of Israel, and he hates the children of Israel. There's a different level of hate he has for the righteous seed, because the righteous seed were given all the promises. Esau was not given the promises. The promises were given to Jacob. Start back in Genesis, the 25th chapter. This is Obadiah 1. Obadiah 1, I want to get this. You know what? I'll start here. Obadiah which is just one chapter. Obadiah, verse 7, all men of thy confederacy, all the nations that were in league with Esau, have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. So all the nations are coming against Esau. It says, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. And that's another sign of Esau's fall, is that he's not able to control the nations, and him having the rule of the earth through his technology and pseudoscience, and through all of his advancements and wickedness, ultimately witchcraft, all that's coming to an end. So the nations are not trying to hear that no more, because the Most High has put the Spirit on him to come against him, to rise against the wicked. Obadiah 1, here it is. Obadiah 1, or Obadiah, verse 10, it says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. So the violence, the wickedness you've done, which the Most High is chiefly concerned about what you've done to Jacob, although you've done wickedness to all people and all nations during the time of your rule. And you've been the most wicked. You've done the most terrible, heinous acts, vile. You brought the earth to the worst state that it is, and that it has ever been, I should say. Obadiah, verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, the Most High remembered what you did to Jacob. Shame shall cover thee. That's all over the Holy Scriptures. Deuteronomy 28, Leviticus 26, all throughout the Bible. Revelation, the 13th chapter. Numbers, the 35th chapter. You know, all the things you've done, all throughout the Bible, going back to Genesis to the end, through the Apocrypha books. So the Most High remembered what you did to Jacob, and he said shame is going to cover you. So that's why you're trying to flee, like that's what you always do. Going back once again to the time of Cain. You're trying to flee from persecution. Now Esau's MO, let's get it here. And Micah, the 2nd chapter, comes to mind. Esau's MO, his objective is to try to throw stones and hide his hand, as if he's done no wickedness. Micah 2, that's why when you see brothers worldwide teaching this word, the Edomites, there's contention, or Edomites come to the camp and they speak against the word, or even on the comment boards, what you'll realize is that the Edomites try to act as if all the wickedness they've done, that that it was just it wasn't their fault, or well the Most High manifest destiny. Well, that was just what was the will of God. Now it was to punish the children of Israel. But on another note, Yahweh Shem Yahushua said, if you do evil unto his people. Now, if you have people in captivity, the scriptures tell you how to go about that. Esau has broken every law to speak about when you have a people captive. There's a way, an order, and a way of righteousness that's right to the Most High. That's only found in the Bible. That's why in the American system, on the money, in the courtrooms, and throughout this land, they promote being God-fearing, a so-called Judeo-Christian nation. And they have "In God We Trust" on their money and on their signets inside of the courtrooms. But they don't keep or promote none of the laws of God. In fact, they go against all of the laws of the Most High. Micah 2:1. Now this says, the title here you see, it says, woe to the oppressors, judgment against wealthy oppressors. And that would be Esau, who is, when you read in the 16th chapter of Luke, he's the rich man, and Lazarus, which is the Israelites, are the poor man. Micah 2:1, woe to them, destruction to them that devise iniquity. That devise what? Evil, mischief, sin, perpetual wrongdoing. Woe to them that devise iniquity. That's what Esau does. And work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because they have think tanks. They have think tanks. And they have councils where they come up, war meeting councils, ways to go into conquering the resources. This is what they've always done. This is how the Most High made them. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand, because the Most High has given them the power to rule in this time. Let's show that real quick. Where's that? This is it. 2 Thessalonians. It says it's in the power of their hands. Maybe 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 7. It says, for the mystery of iniquity, who the wicked is, doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. The Most High is he who letteth. He's letting Esau fulfill prophecy. And he's only doing it until the Most High is done with him. And the earth is almost done with him, because the Most High is almost done with him. So the Most High has put the spirit in the people in the earth to actually rise up against the wicked. So it's only for an appointed time. And that appointed time we can see is coming quick. The Most High is letting him fulfill prophecy, and then he's going to take him out of the way, meaning take him out of power. So when it says here, because it is in the power of their hand in Micah 2:1, that's by the hand of the Most High, by the will of the Most High to fulfill prophecy. But that is not indefinitely. And the Edomites believe that their rule will never come to an end. Micah 2:2, and they covet fields. So they look and they, look at the different resources, the different lands. They've always done this. And they figure out how they can go and conquer. Because the scriptures speak about how war is in his heart. And what comes with war is evil and death. And people become conquered through war. There's a victor. It's a saying, to the victor goes the sports. Well, there has to be a winner and a loser. And Esau has won a lot of these battles, and therefore took over the resources. Salakia took over these resources that's in the land. He took over the resources that's in the land, and he's Salakia, and he's ruled as a cruel oppressor. Now, back to it. Micah 2:2, and they covet fields and take them by violence. That's through their technology. And houses and take them away, because the Most High gave them the gift of the sword. Going back to the book of Genesis, that was given to Cain. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. They come and take away your own heritage, your culture, and make you take on their culture. And then what happens throughout the generations? Well, there becomes no remembrance anymore, truly, of one's culture. He's done that in all the places I named earlier. Africa, going into parts of Asia Minor and Major, but also over in Japan, New Zealand, Australia, all throughout Africa, and all throughout the Americas, most notably. So he's oppressed the world. He's oppressed the heritage of the people. He's taken away, all semblance of righteousness. And he's done it most importantly to the children of Israel. That's who culture matters the most. The Most High's people, his heritage. Verse 3, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh. This is the words of the Most High for Esau ruling in wickedness. Behold, against this family do I devise an evil, for which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for the time is evil. For this time is evil. So evil is being brought against those who have done evil. That's why the scriptures say there's no peace coming to the wicked. Micah 2:4, in that day shall one take up a parable against you. It says the same thing in Isaiah the 14th chapter. And lament with a doleful lamentation, and say, we be utterly spoiled. He hath changed the portion of my people. How hath he removed it from me? Turning away, he have divided our fields. The same thing it says in the second verse. He covet fields and take them by violence. Verse 5, we highlight this. Micah 2:5, therefore thou shalt have none that shall cast a cord by lot in the congregation of the Lord. Now the NLT, it says, others will set your boundaries then, and the Lord's people will have no say in how the land is divided. And the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, speaks about that. Another chapter speaks about it is Ezekiel, the 36th chapter. Speaks about our land being divided by the nations. So he covets fields and take them by violence. Now, I thought about something earlier. I was speaking about the fact that in Deuteronomy, let me just get it. This is the book of Psalm, because he covet fields and he takes them by violence. So I said I wanted to pin something to show you the spirit of Esau. Now, let's start here. Psalm 49:10, for he seeth that wise men die, likewise the fool and the brutish person perish. That would be Esau, and leave their wealth to others. And that's the generational wealth that they have. That's how they've been continued to sustain their rule throughout the generations. Psalm 49 and 11. Their inward thought, the mind of the wicked, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. The actual places they went and conquered. They believe that through manifest destiny, they don't actually, they have obtained this and it was for them to have forever. Which all rulership, when you read in Psalm the 75th chapter, is by the hand of the Most High. And it's only a matter of time before he set up who he wants to rule, which Israel is his ultimate goal. 2 Ezra 6 and 9. Now, so they oppress a man in his house and his heritage, right? Psalm 49:11, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, all the places they went and ruled and conquered, and all the resources, in their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. And that's what I wanted to touch on. I was speaking on that. I think maybe it was Obadiah. Yeah, it was Obadiah. No, it wasn't Obadiah. It was Job. Job. It was in Job 18. Job 18. Let me go back there. So the inward thought is that their houses will continue forever. Here it is. Job 18 and 17. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the streets. So this would be all the places where Esau has put his name, his culture, Christianity, Catholicism. All of this is part of his name. This is what comes with who he is. He ain't going to have no name in the streets. And literally, the countries he's named, all the names of the artifacts is here in America and all throughout Europe and the whole world. He ain't going to have no remembrance. He's going to perish, and he ain't going to have no name in the street. He's not going to be ruling anything. So his culture and everything that is a byproduct of Esau and his rule is not going to be remembered no more. He's going to be a distant memory. So that was the point. Psalm 49:11, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So that's what they've done. So whether it's America going back to Amerigo Vespucci, the explorer, whether it's Europe, whether it's Africa, which we were speaking about here, about these Edomites that's in the land of Ham in South Africa being run out. Wherever they went, all those places. So this is all coming to an end. So this is their inward thought. Now, to speak a little bit more about the inward thought, this is the inward thought of the Edomite, is that they're going to rule forever. It does not according to the words of the Most High. Psalm 10:4, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. So although in his inward thoughts, they believe that they're going to rule forever, we read in Psalm 49 in verse 11, it says God, the Most High, is not in all their thoughts. So that their thoughts are not in line with righteousness, showing you that they would be the wicked. Now, Esau has to be destroyed. One of the main reasons why, let me get it in, should be Revelation 18. One of the main reasons why Esau has to be destroyed and put into captivity is because he's actually, maybe it's 11. Because he's actually, it's 11. He's actually destroyed the earth. That's why he has to be destroyed. Revelation 11 and 18, and the nations were angry, which is what we're seeing now. That's why you have these Hamites running these Edomites out of South Africa. It's the perfect example. On a smaller scale, Revelation 11 and 18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come in the time of the dead, which are the other nations. At one point, they weren't ruling. So that was likened unto them being dead, with Esau just running amok in the earth and pushing and promoting his practices of wickedness and witchcraft. In thy time, it says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged. It says, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, which are the elect, and them that fear thy name, that's only the elect, or the ones that fear the name of the Most High. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 17:10, the elect will praise his holy name. It says small and great, and shouldest destroy them and should have destroyed them which destroy the earth. So Esau has destroyed the earth. And that's why he has to be destroyed himself. That's why he has to be destroyed himself. Now, here's a scripture that makes it even clearer. So the scripture say the Most High is going to destroy them that destroy the earth. This is Numbers 35 and 33. It says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. When you go and mercilessly kill and murder and take away the people and near genocide different people in different places and take all the resources and then put them into slavery. Well, that is the main way you defile a land, is through blood, through innocent bloodshed, or through killing people, and taking their resources. That's wickedness. And then from there, those reparations not never being given to the children of Israel, but you gave them form of reparations, to the different Edomites throughout Europe, whether it was the Germans or whatever, or even the Ammonites over in Japan. Or what about the children of Israel? Because that's what really matters. So blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So you Edomites' blood have to be shed. And you have to receive what you've given double. That's the judgment of the Most High. Defiled, it says not, therefore the land which ye shall inhabit. So don't go in killing people, raping the women, committing and putting on the people disease warfare, smallpox and blankets, devising all these plans and plots of wickedness, doing actual experimentation on the different people around the world and the children of Israel here in the Americas. Defile not therewith the land which ye shall inhabit, wherein I dwell, for I, the Lord Yahweh, dwell among the children of Israel. Because the Most High, right, remembers what you did, the violence you did to his brother, or to your brother, Jacob. He dwelled with the children of Israel. That's who the Spirit of the Lord is with. That's who his people are. That's who his promises are for. And you Edomites are never going to get it. You're never going to be able to receive the inheritance, the birthright. That's why he has to be destroyed. Here goes a few that come to mind. Ecclesiastes 1. This is why Esau has to be destroyed. And this is why the earth is fed up with the Edomites. Ecclesiastes 1 and 15. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. So Esau is that which is crooked. He's likened unto a serpent. He's likened unto a serpent. Going back into the book of Genesis. This is Job, Auuuu 26 and 13. It says, by his spirit he has garnished the heavens, and his hand hath formed the crooked serpent. So Esau could be likened unto that serpent back in the garden. Ecclesiastes 1 and 15, that which is crooked, which is Esau, his ways, his nature, cannot be made straight. You can't convert him. You can't change him. You can't make him righteous. He was made crooked or to be wicked. And that which is wanted cannot be numbered. So you can't offset the will of the Most High. This is the book of Jeremiah, the 13th chapter. Jeremiah 13. Jeremiah 13 and verse 23. Further proof, you can't change what the Most High has already set in motion, because it was already ordained before time, as it says in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. I'll get that next. Jeremiah 13 and 23. Can the Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopards his spots? Then may ye also do good that are, it says, then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil. So the Most High, Yahweh, have set him up to be the wicked. So this is Ecclesiastes 3, should be like 14 or 15. Ecclesiastes 3 and 14, here it is. I know that whatsoever the Most High doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, it says, and nor anything taken from it. And the Most High, or God, doeth it, that men should fear before him. Now, whatever he do, it shall be forever. Whatever the Most High sets up is forever. So that was by his will to set up Esau, the wicked, to be able to destroy him, to show his power, just like he did in the time with ancient Babylon, and he's doing it with the daughter of Babylon, which is America, the same way. He did that. He raised Pharaoh up, or the Pharaoh, to bring him down. It says, Revelation, or Romans, the 9th chapter, gives that recount going back, to the book of Exodus. He raised him up to bring him down just to show his power. And that's what he's doing with Esau. But this is going to be done in the greatest extent. This is going to be done on a whole other level. This is going to be talked about in the annals of history, of Israelite history, forever and ever and evermore. All praises be to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. All praises be to the Most High God, Yahweh, and his son whose name is Yahawashi. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that's laboring on the four corners of the earth in truth and in sincerity. Barak Yamlah, Habayath, Badamadah. Blessings to the house of David, which are your brothers laboring, and to the Akim, Akwath, brothers and sisters that also listen and believe on the glorious gospel that's being preached throughout the four corners of the earth. Unto you I say, Shalom, Shalom, and Barakatham.